Good afternoon and welcome to the September 28th, 2023 meeting of the Fitchburg Historical Commission. I'd like to now call this meeting to order. I see that we have 4 members present, Donna Ostrowski, Andy Lepasti, and Charles Sternonomello. That certainly represents a quorum, and we will continue on. Please be advised that Fitchburg Area TV is conducting an audio and video recording of the meeting for public broadcast. And I don't think that we have any guests at this moment. And so let me just bring up our agenda. I believe let me see here. Okay, hopefully everyone can see this copy of the agenda.
Yes.
Public comment period. Seeing no public or guests at the moment, we'll skip to number 2, review and approve minutes for our August 31st, last month's meeting. Andy, thank you for doing all these minutes and getting them out in a timely manner. Really appreciate it. A lot of work. Do we have any comments, motions to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that. Any other comments? Motion to approve and second has been. All in favor, say aye.
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 Or either
Opposed?
or both.
Abstain? Okay. Thank you. Update on Monument Park repairs and bench installation. I believe, I think everyone was copied on a.
Keith, I just want to say I agree with the minutes approval. My mic was off.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So unanimous. Monument Park repairs. Recently, as of today, I sent an email requesting the board of to get on the agenda of the Board of Parks Commissioners to kind of review our suggested repairs and restoration pieces to Monument Park. And I've asked to get on their November agenda. I believe they meet monthly, and it's usually what I can understand the first Tuesday, which would be next week. And I was just moved that out to next month, see if we can get on their agenda for the following month in November, giving some time to get some presentation materials together, et cetera, to help make a case for budgeting and coordination of what we're suggesting to be repairs to the Monument Park. Also knowing that realizing that perhaps a lot of this funding being perhaps capital improvements or some larger outlays are going to require maybe some significant funding. I think we should probably also meet with the DPW head of that department, Nick Erickson, who's the head of the DPW. It also controls a lot of the budgeting and capital expenditures. So I will, in the next few days, try to see if I can also set up a meeting with Nick, and perhaps bring a couple other members along, so we have maybe not a quorum of our to create a meeting, but to have members present to meet with him. So later on this coming month in mid-October or something like that is what I'd be heading for in that too. So see, that's my recommendation for trying to kind of move forward with this discussion on Monument Park issues, that we are strictly the design review, and getting it before the appropriate bodies, if we will, with support from the Parks Department, in getting budgeting and seeing if we can get some of these projects moving forward. Does that sound like a decent plan? I know this has been on the agenda forever.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. I was just thinking about the park benches and how they want to have them sponsored, which is fine to make the effort, and hopefully that works out. But I did want to say that when the benches were suggested by the mayor when he came to visit us, when they were talking about removing them, they said that they were going to replace them with benches that people couldn't sleep on. There was no mention of anything about fundraising or anything like that. It sounded like it was going to be a done deal. And, that wasn't followed through on. And then now that we're bringing it to their attention, and it's been a long time, all of a sudden it's, if we can get them paid for. But I just want to remind everyone that was never part of the deal originally that I recall, that we were going to have to fundraise for them. We're going to replace them with something that made more sense to have. But I realize, the money's tight. But I just wanted to throw that out there in case somebody else remembered it differently.
No, I agree, Charles. I agree with Charles. And it also strikes me as peculiar that the Common has 16 benches. Wow. 16, 13 of them around the fountain. And these are the benches that people can't sleep on. So it seems a little peculiar that they somehow they could afford 16 benches for the Common, but they can't get 4 benches for the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember pretty clearly that they were supposed to just arrange. I didn't think we were going to have to be chasing around for the benches. It just seems like they got what they wanted and they just kind of moved on. And now they're just kind of dumping it on us to fundraise and whatnot. But again, if we can fundraising, if I don't know who's doing the fundraising, us or the city or both, but if the fundraising does work out, I mean, then that's great, But if it doesn't work out, then it's just like an excuse for them to do nothing after they said they replaced the benches and nobody said anything about fundraising. So I just wanted to just make sure I was remembering that correctly. So thank you for backing me up, Don.
With that said, and we've I don't know if it's on the screen here. This is a draft of the park bench sponsorship. Is that viewing on your screens now?
Yes, it's in.
Okay. This is a draft. Your opinions, if we should, we could, approve something and kind of go ahead with the mayor's thoughts of us providing this application and on our letterhead, or we could hold off for a couple of weeks and see if we can meet with DPW and bring this up as, is this something that could be budgeted soon? I presume it would come through their budgeting, and not have the sponsorship and just have it as regular benches. It is a park dedicated to, it's a memorial. The whole park is a memorial with the focus toward the Civil War dead. I'm, putting additional sponsorships and things in there, in minor ways, a little bit of a distraction from that original intent. It's just little teeny plaques, but it's it's something to be, we'd be aware of, and it's something we are, if we go ahead with this, that we are, okay with. So. Any thoughts on?
Well, I'd just like to point out that the abolitionist part has benches without center. They don't seem to have a problem with people, or they're not worried about people lying down on the benches at abolitionist.
There's no middle.
No middle railing, no.
I just want to also say too, and I don't want to say that it was only that, but I know that it was a big part of it, that our father's house closed down on Lunenburg Street. I don't know how long ago. It's been a while now, months. And the people loitering in that area has significantly decreased. So I think the issue that we were having a few years ago when the bench is removed is not really the same kind of issue that it nowadays. If it was up to me, I'd say put the original benches back if they still have them. But I feel that the downtown issue that we were having with the loitering is not nearly anywhere that it was. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the shelter closing, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay. Yep. Good comment.
Yeah, and I would also like to add that pretty much at least 4 days a week, I'm walking downtown with my dog, and I don't see any loitering in Monument Park. You can say, well, that's because there's no benches, but I do see people sleeping in doorways. So the idea that, well, we don't want them sleeping on benches in the park. We would prefer that they sleep in doorways of businesses on Main Street. I think I would rather have the people sleeping on benches in the park, quite a bit. I mean.
Well, Don, if you can hear me, they sleep on the monument anyway. So now that the benches are gone, they just sleep on the monument itself, which in my opinion is worse. But that was the point, an argument that I raised when they were discussing taking the benches out. And so, Anyway, I don't know. Keith, just tell us how we should move on from here.
Yeah, it seems a false problem that is causing more and more problems. And the central problem really doesn't exist as far as I can see, determine.
Yeah. We've waited for a while. I would suggest that we have this in our back pocket. Let's see if we can have a meeting with the DPW chair or head of the DPW and see if this is exactly what the budgeting issue is about getting benches back in, and then kind of move from there. I think we have, if indeed we are going to be the ones kind of helping with the sponsorship, at least by having it on our letterhead, I think it can work. This is a possible way of doing. I personally don't have an issue with having the center armrest in it. I don't think it's much different expense. I think it needs some sort of center support for the seat in the back for that length of a bench, so it isn't wobbly and cavey and stuff. Whether it has the armrest or not is probably a minor cost to the bench itself, and it's not a game changer on it for me. But either way, informally, not a full vote on what we should do. Is it opinions to kind of hold off on this until we have a chance to in October meet with DPW?
whatever you suggest, Keith. I just want to throw out that there is an election coming up, and that could also change the direction of how things go, for better or for worse. I really don't know.
That's true, and that I don't know where, if there are how things are funded, and if there's any wish list fund that one section of the government has over the other, that they can kind of add this in at this time, or if it's something that needs to be included in next year's budget, so that it is included. And I think now is the time to start lobbying for that, if it's something we need to do for this. And this is just one small part of what we think would be nice to be done to keep the integrity of Monument Park as a historic piece in the city. So again, we don't have any budget control. Technically, we are just design review, but being proactive, we're trying to make some recommendations and see if we can get some repairs to something that's deteriorating, or certain parts of it certainly are deteriorating, and be nice to see some attention paid to that. So advocating for historic resources, I think we're doing the proper thing here. So, but it's not something we can budget ourselves. I would. I'm going to see if I can set up that meeting, and we'll have an update certainly by next meeting of where this is all going. So,
Keith, I had a question on the flyer itself. I don't know if anybody else has an issue with the way it prints out, but I get the lettering and the wording up top is breaking up on me. Like the lettering Monument Park is up in the top right corner. I don't know if it's from the Zoom size or what. This is just what I put it.
It's different than what's showing on my screen.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Do you see that, Don?
I didn't print it out, but I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, and even his line about, park dedicated to historic monument. You see, it's a straight line on your screen, but not on mine.
Okay, I was wondering, in your comments, I was wondering if it was showing up differently on yours. This is a Word document on MacWord, Microsoft Word, but it is a Mac version, and maybe it's formatting differently on your PC. I'll try to resend it out as a PDF that kind of locks in the graphics on it.
Okay.
And see how that looks. And maybe Andy let me know if it's still wonky for you. So
Okay.
if it is more like what's shown on the computer, on the presentation screen here, I added in some of your comments, or everybody's comments, I think.
Thanks.
The personal, memorial, or business sponsorships with custom bronze plaques. And I think that addresses some of the things. At the bottom, if we go with this, I'm having the check made to City of Fitchburg because we can't do anything with it. And in the memo at MP Bench, and showing that there's a limit of 8 full benches, and sponsorship may be tax deductible. And I think, making it conditional that way, it's kind of up to the donor to verify that it is tax deductible, but it's something in many instances should be tax deductible. There's no, from when I read online, it should be okay, but we can take that off and let anybody figure out what they have to do with it. So anyhow, that's where it stands now. So far, the draft is updated and seems to work well if the formatting works out okay. And we'll hold this in reserve until we get a little bit better idea what's happening on
Okay.
multiple fronts.
Yeah.
Budgeting, administrations, et cetera. So, okay. Anything else on the Monument Park agenda item? Let me. Okay. Item number 4, update on historic building demolition delay.
All right, as we talked about last time, veritable design flaw. I'm working on a PowerPoint presentation and reviewing Keith Snow. I don't know if I can start sharing if you're already sharing, Keith.
I'm stopping sharing, so you can share now, I think.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right. And I should be able to.
Full screen is down at the bottom, I think.
Play from start.
All right.
There we go. Okay, so I'm calling it demolition delay for historically significant structures. You know, I know we started out with, and it's kind of a accepted notion that historical buildings begin after certain decades, you know, like 50 years or 100 years. And that's not true. There can be historically significant structures that are not as much as 50 or 100 years old. And I think getting caught up in, well, it has to be a certain age for it to be historical is just wrong. I mean, it's just plainly wrong. So I say historically significant structures. This is not complete. I'm eager to get suggestions on what I should continue with and what I shouldn't. I'm taking this from our resource document on demolition delay, pointing out that over 150 cities and towns in Massachusetts have a demolition delay, and including 12 of the 24 gateway cities. When we talked with one of the city officers, she initially was saying, well, there are no gateway city. Oh, yeah, I see one gateway city. Oh, there's more than one gateway. So, yeah, there are 12 gateway cities on the list that have demolition delays. Fitchburg's not one of them. Fitchburg's a gateway city, but it doesn't have. It's a historically significant city, but has no demolition delay to protect its historic structures. And the question is, why doesn't have the demolition delay? So I don't have the full list here. I just wanted to show you what it would look like. The various, page 2, page 3, page 4. I didn't throw that out, but I don't know if I should put all of those cities in or just some of them. There's notion of the weight of evidence. If I show all 150 cities, whereas if you say 150 cities and towns, they say, so what? Why don't the others have the other 150 cities?
Yeah, there's room on that slide to have all 150 in a small font, and I think that would be
very small.
Would be fine.
Yeah, it would be a number of pages. It would be.
It has some impact. See.
Yep. Just reduce the font down so they're all jammed in there, so it looks.
And then the letter to the editor, I think that should be in about, it buys historic buildings time, and that's a very significant point, and someone else made, and it shouldn't. I think that's very effective. And then the shows some of the examples of demolition delay successes: Boston, Easton, Reading, Worcester. And then the testimony of Ralph Slade, I will have to get his approval to put this in, of the Springfield Historical Commission, of the examples in Springfield where the demolition delay has been successful. And this is one of them, the Willys Overland building in Springfield. And then the master plans for Fitchburg. I call them master plans. I don't know. They're kind of the vision for the future of Fitchburg. Some of them are preservation plans, some of them are economic plans. But the point is that they're integral. The economic plans for revival of Fitchburg and the preservation plans to preserve the historic structures are very much intertwined, because Fitchburg has a unique historical, cultural heritage that is a selling point for businesses and for people coming to live here. I know when we were looking here over 16 years ago, one of the things that impressed me were the historic buildings. As a historian, of course, but I'm not the only one. And so if we want people to come to live in Fitchburg, if we want businesses to come to Fitchburg, it's essential, I think, to preserve those historic structures. So that, for example, the Fitchburg Strategic Plan for Economic Development from February 2018 says, sub-goal B2, recognize and build upon Fitchburg's historic architectural character. Yeah, I mean, so it's there, it's in the plans, it's and I think that needs to be highlighted, that whenever people sit down and think about the future of Fitchburg, they invariably include preservation of the historic structures. And then this is something I sent out, a recent link of 19 best things to do in Fitchburg. Very interesting, and quite a variety, but noticeably absent are certain buildings that no longer exist. The train station, demolished in 1961. The Wallace Library Building, demolished in 1967. The steam plant, demolished in 2016. The Johnsonia, demolished in 2011. The Lucy Ellen Hospital building, turned over to the city in 1968 and demolished. A demolition delay might have saved those, at least to consider alternatives to demolition. Instead of the Lucy Ellen Hospital, we have this horrendous post office building, federal post office building, which looks like a Romanesque siege fortress. It's just very foreboding.
Yeah, not much design to it.
And I've talked to a number of people in Fitchburg who were born in the Lucy Ellen Hospital. It's part of their identity.
Yeah, they're proud to say it.
And they wiped it out and put in that monstrosity. Yeah.
Were these listed in that article? I guess I didn't know.
No, they weren't. They,
Oh, you just picked up on
yeah,
that.
no, these are not included in the article. No train station, no Wallace Library, no steam plant. Why not? Because they're no longer there. But if they were in existence and properly preserved, no doubt they would be on that list. It would be a list more than 19. Or more than 19. I'm just giving some examples here. So then I have pictures of the the train station when it was demolished, the Wallace Library and Art Building when it was demolished, Lucy Ellen Memorial Hospital when it was demolished, steam plant when it was demolished, and the Johnsonia Hotel. When it's an old picture. Yeah, it's an old photo. But when it was demolished. So, and then I go into the ordinance itself. I wondered if I should break it down according to the different sections, so intent and purpose and so forth. So that's as far as I've gotten, and open to suggestions of what I should have in there, what I should exclude, what I should be shorter, what should be longer. Go to it.
You want to include some of the buildings where they are preserving them or turn them into condos, apartments?
Oh, yeah.
You know, things like that.
But then that would be an argument against the demolition delay. See, we saved these without the demolition delays.
Yeah, maybe you don't want to bring that point.
Well, these are the kind of buildings that, and the kind of things that can be done. It's been a long process because, just the saving of the Academy Street buildings, very long process.
Yeah, it took a long time.
Yeah.
To get where they're starting to work on them now. And the Morin Square buildings, the River Street Mills over there.
Yeah, this is without a demolition delay, my concern. I mean, yes, if they're part of a historic district, then it's more difficult to demolish them.
Yeah.
But if people aren't aware and don't see that the visual identity of Fitchburg is tied up very much with its historic architecture, then they're going to be indifferent, to if someone wants to demolish a building, or in the case of the city officials, have not had a stellar record over since the 1960s in terms of being concerned about the loss of the cultural heritage of Fitchburg.
Just a suggestion, Don, might be that as you're kind of intermixed with the slides with lots of words on them, maybe you could stretch them out a little bit with more pictures in between the text, if you will.
Yes.
Give people some images to look at, so they're not just, taking some of the earlier slides and kind of breaking it down. Maybe just shots of Main Street with kind of all of its eclectic buildings in line, if you will. Certainly, the areas that are maybe not developed yet, but certainly could be demolished because there's no whatever. Just a few views of that. One other suggestion on the first slide, which was reasons for demolition delay. I think before we get into other towns have it, just the the bare reasons for demolition delay might be stated there of,
Okay.
giving the city an opportunity to, through this ordinance to cause a delay for reconsideration of alternatives to demolition of, alternatives to allow preservation of buildings. It's just kind of a quick statement of what the ordinance is trying to do. And then saying, here we have lots of other cities in the Commonwealth have demolition delays, and a lot of those are similar cities to Fitchburg, like gateway cities and stuff. And those are all good things. But my suggestion is just having a statement what the delay is, and not we want a delay because other cities have it. Just giving another kind of the basics of what the delay allows.
Good point.
Okay, cool. This is great work, Don. Thanks.
Thank you. I will continue working on that, and then I will do a separate one for the stone wall ordinance as well, because I don't want them to be linked. I want them to be, so if they're going to reject one, I don't want them to use the excuse.
Yeah.
Cover both. Yeah. Okay.
No,
Thank you.
That's a great approach. Pictures mean 1,000 words and all of that good stuff. So, all right. Other things on demolition delay? Other members' comments? Okay. I think I'm showing the agenda to you, but I can't see it on my screen. So hang on a second here. There we are. So moving on, update on appreciation of historic stone walls and structures. Don just mentioned that he's thinking of a PowerPoint on that also. And I think we've been discussing whether or not this is a something that is an ordinance or just something that we are making public knowledge of the value of Fitchburg's unique stone wall features that it has. As an educational piece, an ordinance without enforcement, I'm not sure we could make an ordinance per se. Any other thoughts on that? If there's not an enforcement piece to it, is it something that can be stated as an ordinance, or certainly an adopted reference that the city is putting out there? Any thoughts on kind of the legal mechanism that we're trying to create a document where we're just trying to make public information out there?
This is where we're getting down to agenda item number 9, which is we need a lawyer on for exactly these questions.
Yeah, or maybe asking other people in the city, maybe even Joan or others, for advice on some of the stuff, people that have been involved with all of the commissions and boards, and how things are kind of created this way, so we're trying to make the city aware of aware of this the historic significance of, in this case, stone, local stone structures, stone walls, that are unique to our area and to Fitchburg specifically, and the importance of preservation where possible. And maybe that where possible is kind of the question, but it is a recognition of a statement that, it'd be great if City Council could make it, and it could be publicized, whether that's just one night that it's made and somebody endorses it, or I think Don's efforts in putting it into PowerPoints that we can have on the city's website, on our own website, perhaps features or programs on local TV, in the recording catalog of recorded TV, and obviously recorded at the Historical Society somehow as documentation, and the importance of these and making public awareness of it. Similar to what we're trying to do with the buildings, and actually creating a tool for a review of something like that. We're not sure if we want to have that official tool or not for the stone wall piece, where there's enforcement, I guess.
Well, there are two very different theories about law. One of them is to change people's behavior, and the other is to put into some kind of official form what the prevailing view is. So, for example, in Switzerland, they have extreme anti-littering laws, but littering is not a problem. In Switzerland, they just put those laws in because they want to establish what their beliefs are. So yeah, that's why we need a lawyer to, or at least someone who is aware of the laws of Fitchburg, and what is the philosophy behind the laws? Is it to change people's behavior, or is it to establish what the prevailing view is? I guess the prevailing view is someone who has a stone wall can tear it down whenever they want. But I wasn't trying to get at those. I was aiming as an audience to people who wonder what they should do. They want to act conscientiously with their stone wall that's on their property, but maybe that's a very limited audience. I don't.
And maybe that could be in an ordinance format, stating very similar to what you just said quite well, that this is the the city and people in the city should be aware of the value and the heritage of stone walls and stone structures, and and it is a decree or something like that. What keeps it living, I'm not sure after the meeting that it is endorsed. I guess it goes on the books somewhere, gets archived.
Can the historical commission issue a decree?
That's what we need a lawyer for. We can do all we want to do. Well, that's what we can do that right now. I don't know. And that's a good question. And I'm sure planning board, and I'm trying to think of other.
Picking up some conversation from the front block.
right. Other, like planning board has zoning regulations and et cetera, that certainly are enforceable. And there might be probably things like the community development department who issue these master plans and ideas for the future growth or development of the city, having it as kind of a speaking point, along with what they're certainly already talking about, the value of historic structures, like you mentioned in several of the reports that have come out of the Community Development Planning Office or developed for them, talking about historic resources being of value to the city. There could also be mention of stone walls as part of the heritage of the city, also kind of extending it beyond buildings, but some of this other physical, environmental pieces that are part of the fabric of the community and worth consideration of preservation on them also. Let's see. Any action plan for item 5? What should be working on next on item 5? We're talking about PowerPoint. I'd be happy to see if I can have some illustrations, or anyone on the commission, Charles also, that has any good photographs or images of stone type of images that are unique to Fitchburg, all the way from colonial stone walls to the present. Have that, perhaps as images for a PowerPoint and for making a visual point of what we're trying to communicate to the public and the city itself.
Keith, I personally do not have any photos of any stone walls. I don't know whatever happened to Joy Contois's collection and notes and studies after she passed away, but I know she had extensive information on stone walls in particular in Fitchburg. And I know that she had led some excavations of some historic sites with stone walls, and she had notebooks galore filled with notes and photos. I don't know if her husband is still available to be contacted, or one of her children, or maybe somebody at the Senior Center or Historical Society. You know what? They might have been donated to the Historical Society.
Yeah, it might be something we check with Susan on.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I would say that.
Yep, that's a great suggestion. Maybe Andy, in your when you're at the historical society, maybe see if do you know who Joy was?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think I ever met her or saw her in person, but I did see some of her teachings or articles.
Yeah, if you have the opportunity, maybe see if any of that, particularly in relative to stone walls, stone foundations, of her work, that could perhaps augment, and that could be part of our story also of how researchers in the past have done a lot of work already in researching and recognizing the importance of some of the heritage left by these stone remains, if you will. Thanks, Charles. Good suggestion.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, the Historical Society would definitely have some information on that. I'm sure that some of Joy's work made it over there.
Yeah, and kind of my pet focus on this idea of Fitchburg stone things is a lot of it, and maybe to my point, maybe unrecognized importance of the Fitchburg quarry as an industry, and also as making up part of a lot of the stone fabric of the city because of its geography, if you will, and sloped areas, and a lot of retaining walls and bridge construction and things that are make the physical landscape of Fitchburg unique from other cities and towns in the Commonwealth. Okay, moving on to item number 6, update on historic districts information, brochure, map information, guide, signage, web postings. We're making progress on this. I'm getting kind of the final edits. I know this has been slow, and I'll take the hit on that. Should be able to get that to get an updated version of it shortly here. I'm still working out some glitches on some of the QR code connections for some of the areas that don't have defined descriptions. We have the proposed Upper Common Historic District that has not been approved yet by National Parks. And we have the similar Academy Street Educational District that hasn't received its final approval and probably won't until after the construction of the school buildings renovations are complete. And by the way, the construction has started on, I think, all 3 of the buildings, particularly from several weeks ago, there was asbestos removal happening and other things happening in early stages of the development of the Academy Street schools in that district that New View is working on. So getting back to the brochure is just trying to get a proper link into some good links into those areas that are not yet, don't have documents of National Register status that are easy to link to. So these are kind of draft documents, and I hope to resolve that, and maybe we can certainly update those links as we get more information on those, keeping the brochure as it is, but just update the links. Just a side note on the brochure work and the signage work that's been kind of ongoing. This has been in a partnership with Fitchburg State. Again, this semester, Professor J.J. Sylvia has a course that's focused on his students working on history of our community of Fitchburg, and groups of 3 or 4 focusing on different parts of the heritage of Fitchburg, creating documentation and research documentation, if you will. And they'll be working with the Historical Society and other library resources to do their research pieces in being able to publicize some of their focuses. And this year's topics are, I believe some of them, just a quick recap, are on Fitchburg's growth with immigration, another group of students are going to be working on the industrial development of Fitchburg. And I think maybe women in the history of Fitchburg are some of the topics that they might be working on. So putting in some, something that we kind of help start. I think our commission helped start this focus by the college students and kind of adding information and data to the city's heritage. Oh, so anyhow, item 6, hopefully have an update, more progress on that next meeting. Historic marker update. We were supposed to have signs out by the end of this week. I will try to contact our sign maker certainly tomorrow to see if we can have an update to see if 2 markers on order are actually have made it out to the people that applied for them. They've had some problems with new paint formulations and things that are having adhering problems for whatever reason. But hope to follow up on that and see if everything is working out fine on that. We hope. So I'll send an email out with anything I hear on that. No new applications so far since our last meeting. Item number 8, protect and document and share Main Street building histories, historic districts, tax credits, and other restoration reuse incentives. Ellen is working on some of that, and she's not able to attend today's meeting. Number 9, membership vacancies for the commission. Don, you had mentioned you maybe had a lead. Any luck on that?
Well, we're waiting for the election in November because he's running for the school board. And if he doesn't get on the school board, maybe open. He has an office on Main Street, so he's and lives in Fitchburg and is very interested in the city and improving the city. So I'll follow up on that.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else that can come up with any suggestions? That would be great. In particular, we were looking for someone with a legal background or a lawyer operating in the local area. And it'd be great to have somebody from the real estate industry also. And if we can't find those, we will open it up to interested parties. Number 10, Historical Commission website editions, links to architectural styles, National Park Service preservation briefs, etc. These are my suggestions, and I still need to do some work in getting some items together. I'd like to present what I'm suggesting before we have it added to our website or whatever way of publicizing these things we're considering. So I'll hopefully have an update on that next month. New business.
Hey, Keith, on the website item.
Yeah.
But I think we might have mentioned, do we want to add our Historic Commission website to our agenda and our minutes? Like a one-line item or something?
Oh, right.
Just wondering if it's okay, I put in a website line on our minutes for the next minutes review.
If we have a typically we're using this letterhead, which is the Fitchburg Historical Commission.
Okay.
a first suggestion is if we just made another line under here that listed our website that someone could click on as a hot link to the website.
Yeah, sure, okay. Almost have it the last line item before agenda or before minutes.
Okay, like having oops, sorry.
A website link that we've used in our brochures or something like that along those lines.
Yeah, I have in the brochure that we're still working on. Let me see if I can bring that up. If you have the moment to take a look at it.
I think we might even use one in our latest walking tour we did a few months ago.
Yeah, in the brochure, the Historical Commission, I've you'd have to type this in. This isn't a hot link in here, but it shows the Fitchburg, Mass, and the Historical Commission link that takes it to the website. So, ideally, on things like this, you're saying.
Yeah, you still have the agenda on the screen. I can't see that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, this is one of the later drafts of the brochure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I see that now.
And, Macris, Historical Society, Public Library, and us at the bottom here with.
Yeah, okay.
Not a hot link, but maybe if we also get this in digital format, maybe it could even be a hot link or something.
Like in our documentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the website, it would be nice to put this brochure as a digital document also, besides having the paper fold-out ones.
Right.
Basically having this for somebody that, for whatever reason, clicks on the Historical Commission website, which is kind of hard to get to. But we could also, seeing if the city or the mayor would every so often be able to put something on the main page of Fitchburg's website to click on, or there is a link to Fitchburg's history, I think, and we could also put our webpage there as a connection to connect to other important information about historical documents. So.
I think the historic marker brochure is on our commission website. Does that sound correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So people get to that on that page.
Right. Not many have been.
Not many clicks on them.
Yeah. Again, it's kind of hard to find it. You have to know where to look. But we're not on the important list of most people's thoughts. And that's something we need to change,
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So just to kind of go back again, should we put it on our letterhead also here as a link?
Right at the top.
For when we publish minutes and agenda items that are posted basically on the agenda web link in the city's website. That's where people could be able to see that. And if they want to search further for what we do, they could click on that website, which would be a link. It's not an address to get to us. It's just a web page.
It must be.
And once they get to the web page, there are hot links to actually email us. So yeah.
Yeah, when we email those docs to the city clerk, they're adding the letterhead to the top of our docs, right, before they post them online.
Are your minutes, do they have a letterhead on top of them?
No, I'm just sending out, it's just starts as a doc file.
Yeah, if you, do you want a copy of this letterhead? So when you do the minutes, you could have this on top of it?
Yeah, you have a starting file, starting doc.
I'll make one up and I'll add the website on it also
Okay,
and send that to you just as a Word doc.
yeah. Mhm.
So you can save that as a template basically to go ahead and add the official minute things on it that show the with the letterhead, the seal, and so forth, just to make it look more official.
Yeah, all right.
All right. Okay. New business. One of our members, as Andy pointed out earlier, who is going to be honored by the Fitchburg Cultural Alliance at their annual meeting on November 4th. And let me see if I can pull up. I think I emailed people a copy of this just recently, but let me bring it up on screen officially here. Let's see. Okay, are you seeing this?
Yeah.
No.
Not yet. Okay, let me get to my Zoom and share and share again. All right. Hopefully this is up on your screen, the dark blue.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is the Fitchburg Cultural Alliance. I believe it's their 45th annual meeting. And during their annual meeting, which is starting at 6 p.m. on November 4th at 14 Wallace Avenue, I believe that is the senior center. And there's going to be, looks like a catered meal and remarks and presentations, a mingle and dance and having fun, etc. with live music. And it's also the Cultural Alliance is going to be honoring two of their very strong advocates and members, and one of them being our Historical Commission member, Ellen DiGeronimo, and also Jennifer Jones from the Cultural Alliance. So Ellen is being honored, and certainly support from any of us that could make that would be great. Again, I emailed you a copy of this or forwarded it from Andy, and information on getting tickets, et cetera, is listed on the brochure. So great honor for Ellen. We all know tremendous work that she's done for the city in many capacities. So congratulations, Ellen.
yeah.
And I believe our next meeting is October. Share again. Next meeting is October 26th, 3 p.m. Any other new business? Very good. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I hear a second. All right.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Meeting is adjourned.